menus and forms and entering data using forms in Oracle applications. So let's do that. Let's go back to Oracle applications, and what we'll do now, let's re-log in since we logged out in our last movie. So I've used the user eGoldsmith, and then I've used the password welcome, is it not? And then hit the login to enter into Oracle applications. Let me just do one thing. Let me just minimize this one because it's coming in the background. All right. So by this time, I'm sure you understand the concept of the responsibility, a menu and a form. So what I'll do now, I will go on and I will enter and click on a responsibility called as Payables Orange Corporation New Zealand. So as you could see, I've simply clicked on there, and then what I'll do, I will go into a form for entering my supplier invoices. Okay, so to do that, I've entered into a responsibility called as payables, and then I'll go on to a submenu. It's called as invoices, and finally there is one more submenu associated with invoices called as entry, and then within that submenu you've got a number of functions that are listed out here, right? One function is invoice, one function is quick invoice, and so many different functions. Okay, so at this point of time I would like to demonstrate you how to enter invoices using an invoice entry form. So to access a form for invoice entry, you must click on this function called as invoices. So as soon as I click on that, Oracle will open something called as Oracle Applications Forms. Okay, so I simply click on continue. These forms are Java based forms, and that's the reason it's opening in a Java based applet. Okay, now as you could see, now this form is launched. So this form, as I said, is for invoice entry. So let's quickly enter an invoice. Now I won't go through each of the fields at this moment because you're very new to the system, but gradually as we move along in the course, I will introduce you to many different fields module wise. Alright, so let's enter a quick and a standard invoice that's received from a supplier called as Dell Computers New Zealand. Okay, so in this case my supplier is Dell Computers, so that's where I type. So if you know the name, you can type the whole name. If you know partly, you can type the part name, and then Oracle will list down rest of the name. So say for example I forgot the name, so I can simply use that list function and type Dell here, and Oracle has, now you see it has listed Dell New Zealand as my supplier. So hit the OK button, and then all the details related to suppliers will come automatically. So suppliers definition can be defined in Oracle applications, and then what happens is as soon as you click suppliers here, a number of fields gets defaulted based on the definition that you made. Okay, so let me enter a invoice date here. Alright, so what we got to do it is we've got to open something called as a period out here. You can enter the invoices in an open period, so let me just open a period here, out here, this one. So what happens is every invoices or payments that you create in payables, it generates corresponding accounting entries in the background, and those accounting entries goes and sits into something called as your accounting periods, and that period must be open for an invoice to be entered. So that's what I have done it. That period was not opened, so I've just opened it. Alright, so now I come back to invoice entry form, and now I enter an invoice number. Let's say some invoice number, say 400,000 or like this number 40,001, and then some currency and amount, any date, and then couple of other details, as I said, will get defaulted from your supplier definition or the setups that you've made as part of your Oracle applications. Now I go to lines and I quickly enter one line for the invoice header that I've entered. So consider this just like a supplier invoice. So for example, if you buy as a company, if you buy a computer from Dell, then what Dell will do, it'll send you those computers, and then it'll send you the associated invoice along with it, and then you have to pay for the goods that you have procured from the supplier. Okay, so that's what is happening here. So supplier has sent you the invoice. Now all you're doing it is you're entering the supplier's invoice into the system. Okay, so I enter one line, say for example I've ordered only one laptop computer, and then all you've got to do it is simply go to distributions and enter the account associated with this invoice. So I enter the amount has to be same as what's entered at the line level, and then an account. So say for example I'm entering an amount out here, say I choose a department, say this laptop was ordered by consulting department, and then I choose an account, which account it should go in. So I say it should go in payable account, so that's where I choose. Okay, so this fields that I am entering in is also called as a flex field. Okay, now it's very new to you to understand, but as we go along in the course I'll explain you what exactly is this field and how do you build this field and what are these components in those fields. So at the moment simply understand that this is nothing but something called as an accounting flex field, wherein you enter an account combination associated with a company. Okay, so I'll enter that, and now I simply hit the save button. So what will happen now, this has saved one record for the invoice that I have just created, is it not? So now that the invoice has been created, all you've got to do it is next time, say for example if you simply close this form and you forgot the invoice number, you forgot the date on which you have entered the invoice, you've got to understand an ability how you go and query that invoice, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate you in the next movie.